You all know why we've come here. The patrons have pushed us into a corner. Their magic has grown too powerful to hold in check. These villains are stealing the worship of our own followers. We must do something before they marshal their forces, before they destroy us and all we stand for. We've come to the vortex to destroy the world. Life will be better after the sundering. Our followers will live on in the new worlds of air, fire, stone, and water. Our enemies will be trapped in the labyrinth to contemplate their dark ways. And we will guide the new order into the future. Help me, my friends. Let us summon the world seal and begin the process of healing. 'This seal ties together all of Earth's elements. As we sunder it, so do we sunder the world. Thus we begin a new age.
"2,000 years ago, the Sartan Council sundered the world into 5 realms. One of them was a nightmarish prison called the Labyrinth, and into it was banished the entire patron race, your ancestors. This is the place you've always called home, and all you've ever wanted is escape. Your name is Haplo, and you are a patron. Not long ago, Lord Tsar, the most powerful patron sorcerer of his generation, broke through the labyrinth's final gate. In doing so, he paved the way for others to follow. The path was still difficult, but not impossible. Your travels led you to the final gate, where the combined forces of the labyrinth waited to turn you away. The fight was hopeless. Alone you never would have survived. But then Lord Tsar appeared, and with his help you were able to rout the dark monsters of the labyrinth. What followed is hazy. You remember stumbling out of the final gate, but then you collapsed on the ground, and Lord Tsar's concerned face faded to darkness as you lost consciousness.
Ah, Haplo. Do you feel well enough to talk, my son? I was worried. You took some serious wounds in your dash for the final gate. It was all I could do to repair your heart rune and heal you. The few weeks since you escaped the labyrinth should have been enough time to recover, but we don't want to rush it. I know you have a lot of questions. I'll do my best to answer them, but first I'd like to give you some history. You've spent your life trying to escape the labyrinth and hating the Sartan who consigned our race there. But you don't really know the full story. Even I didn't know everything when I escaped, but I learned quickly. You see this city around us? The Sartan made this. They made it for us, if you can believe it, for when we emerged from the labyrinth, we were supposed to be docile, rehabilitated, brainwashed. Instead, we hate our Sartan jailers more than ever. There are libraries here, stocked with books. Since my escape, I've been studying them. They tell me much, but not all. There are mysteries I cannot explain, but I will tell you everything I've learned. 2,000 years ago, our patron ancestors warred with the Sartan. We were winning. It was only a matter of time until we defeated the evil sorcerers, took our rightful place as leaders of the world, and freed the other races from their slavery to the Sartan. In desperation, a Sartan named Sama hatched a fiendish plan. He intended to sunder the world into 5 realms. 4 of these realms would be homes to the mensch races, elves, humans, and dwarves. The 5th is here, the labyrinth. It was supposed to serve as a prison for our race. They created a magic artifact called the World Seal. With it, they succeeded in sundering the world. Our ancestors were trapped in the labyrinth, and the rest of the world was broken into the other 4 realms. They planned to lord over the realms and administer the labyrinth as we were rehabilitated. But something happened. They just disappeared, and with them, all of their good intentions. Without the guidance of the Sartan, the labyrinth became a slaughterhouse. Its magic made it aware, intelligent, and it wanted our blood. Life was a living hell for our people. But instead of breaking us as the Sartan wanted, the labyrinth has made us stronger. Many of us have escaped, despite the labyrinth's best efforts. I go back in every day to aid others in their way. I only needed to take you a few hundred feet. You even demanded that you cross the final gate on your own, without any help, before you passed out. You should be proud. Now, my son, I need you. Since my escape, I have been devising a plan to restore our people to our once glorious position. It is our birthright. To this end, you must carry out a very special mission for me. I need you to go into these realms. You'll not only be gathering information, but searching for the seal itself. With it in hand, I plan to reform the world from the broken pieces that the Sartan left us. But here I've been dominating the conversation. You must be very confused. I'm sure you have many questions for me. I'll detail my plan later.
Tell me about the other realms.
Certainly, my son. The Sartan sundered the world into 5 realms. They based 4 of them on the elements: air, fire, stone, and water. The 5th, of course, is the labyrinth. They are all separated by large distances, too far to travel in a lifetime. That's why the Sartan created the Death Gate. Through it, people can travel from one realm to any other.
What is this place exactly? It's not the labyrinth.
It's known as the Nexus, kind of a way station. This city is where the Sartan were supposed to watch over the labyrinth. I believe they were going to give it to us as a place to live once we had been rehabilitated. It makes a perfect staging area for my plan.
The Death Gate? What's that?
The Death Gate is a portal. It connects the 5 realms. With a good ship and the right magic, anyone can cross the Death Gate from one realm to any other.
Have you crossed the Death Gate?
No, I haven't been able. I've made preparations, but it's always been my intention to send an emissary, or more appropriately, a scout in my stead. In fact, I was hoping that you would be my eyes in these realms.
What kind of magic is needed to cross the Death Gate?
It's very simple, yet infernally unattainable. The books describe the necessary preparations. You need a ship, one powered by magic with the ability of flight. You need a steering stone magically treated to guide the ship through the portal. But upon the stone, you also need the naming rune of the target realm. The books state this, but neglect to actually show the runes, as if they were common knowledge. None of the books depict these runes. For years, I've been researching the subject, reading every document, poring over every scrap of parchment, and I believe I finally divined one of the runes, that of Arianos, World of Air. It's the only one I've been able to reconstruct, and it's taken years. I don't even know if it's possible to produce the others, given the pitiful research materials I have. It's my thought that the other runes might lie somewhere inside the realm of air. For some time, I've been planning to send someone there to look for them.
Do you have a ship?
Yes, the Sartan were kind enough to leave one for us. It didn't have the steering stone that such a ship requires, but I was able to reproduce one. Without the naming runes of the realms, of course.
Let's go back a step.
Certainly.
Have you learned anything about the labyrinth?
Like I explained, the labyrinth was supposed to rehabilitate our entire race. With the Sartan in control, the test that it administered would have been difficult, even violent, but never fatal. The Sartan disappeared, and somehow the labyrinth became sentient. Its magic took on an intelligence. It started to kill us, slowly but surely. It toyed with us, always gave us just enough hope to keep us fighting. It created environments and monsters that even the twisted Sartan had never dreamed of. But we bested it. We escaped, and more of our kind are escaping all the time. But it is a trickle instead of a flood. Most of our race is still trapped inside. If my plan unfolds as I expect, I will free everyone at the same instant and bring an end to our imprisonment once and for all.
Can we talk about something else?
Of course. What do you want to know?
You repaired my heart rune?
Yes. As the labyrinth continued to attack you, the magic rune tattooed over your heart became weaker and weaker. When I discovered you, it was actually broken. As you know, heart runes must be complete to function. They sustain us, protect us. They are like circles. The magic of your being continually flows through it. If it becomes weak, you cannot cast spells. If it ever becomes broken, you fall ill. Luckily, I found you in time. I was able to draw upon my own life force to lend to you. It repaired your heart rune and made you strong enough to overcome the final hurdle of the labyrinth.
Tell me about magic.
Certainly. Patrons have magic in their blood. Once we were the greatest sorcerers in the world. If we had learned to work together as the Sartan did, they never would have stood a chance against us. Since then, we have lost much of our skill. We have forgotten many spells because they were useless in the labyrinth and retained only a very few. We never lost our potential, though. To this day, we can cast any spell as long as we know how it is constructed, but we are pitifully ignorant. One of the things we must do before we confront the Sartan again is to relearn the magic that we have forgotten.
How do you cast a spell?
Spells are made up of runes. You build a spell by putting these runes together to form a rune construct. When you have built the construct in your mind, you trace the design